Hi, it's Rupert Hine here from Action Coach Nick and Ross, and today I'm joined by Colin Munro from MyConnex. Colin, welcome.
Thanks very much, Rupert. Glad to be joining you today.
So you've been running your business 13 years. That's a tremendous track record for any business. But what took you into? What helped you start MyConnex?
Yeah, 13 years, that's right. So my background's in marketing for some, blue chip companies. Had my own marketing agency at one point as well. Right. And then I took a detour and I set up my own business, small business. I followed a passion to retrain as a chef and bought a restaurant in the Highlands and ran that for a few years. And then I decided that although I loved it in a lot of fronts, it wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So worked out that what I wanted to do next was try and help businesses communicate with local populations. So that was when we set up MyConnex, and we embarked on that journey. Set up a communication platform for a city, one of the first that I believe of its kind, and started trying to work out. There's an assumption there that local people want to know what local businesses are doing, and local businesses want to tell them, right? So that sounds really easy. And we, as usual, when you scratch beneath the surface, you find out it's not quite that simple. So we set up the first instance of that technology in Inverness, and then we found out that other towns and cities had the same problem. They came to us saying, "You know what? Do you want to try and help us work on this problem as well?" And we ended up working across the UK and Northern Ireland, well, UK and in Ireland, and we got up to about 20 staff, and it was going well, quite high levels of success initially. And then actually it didn't work out in the long run. So we learned a lot of lessons in the first 5-6 years. It's undermined by other social media platforms and other ways for business to communicate with consumers more directly. Actually now, with the throttling back of social media channels, there's probably more of a need for that platform that we had back then. But what I did do was introduce us to the world of place management. So there's an industry out there of people that are trying to help business communities be successful. So city centre managers, business improvement districts, economic development departments, chambers of commerce. There's loads of place managers or people that are involved in that industry. And we started to work out that actually using a local currency was a different tool, one that hadn't been that successful in the past. So we thought we would have a go working with a client in our home city of Perth to try and use the Visa network to create a local currency for Perth. And that took us into the second part of, if you like, of the journey.
Yeah, so I mean that's a fairly an eclectic mix of changes that you've been through. What did you learn from the different? You went into running your own business, but working as a chef is a very different thing to working in communications and marketing. What were the lessons that you learned?
The vast majority of my career was in marketing. So actually, the detour, the chefing bit's nearly irrelevant. It was running my own business.
Yeah,
a small business within a community. And then you're like really frustrated that that small business doesn't have the same opportunities as large organizations to communicate with their audiences, right? So you're like, okay, well, I've got a better combination here. So can I work out a better way or an easier way for businesses to communicate with those populations using the experience that I had? And that's what, I guess that was combining the frustrations of being a small business owner with the experience of working in digital communications, and try and put that together and do something there. So
So that's taken you into, or taking you through in your passion of creating new communication channels for small business and local communities. And now you've got the next phase in your journey where you're starting to integrate that almost into a local currency. And you mentioned working with Visa. That's starting to bring in the really big players.
Yeah.
How did you go about that?
So yeah, I guess I kind of switched. If you look at, we switched from working from an individual business trying to communicate with an audience perspective to trying to understand what place managers are trying to do to help their business communities, if that makes sense. So if you're then looking at a top-down approach for a city, wherever you live, and you're going, what can we do to help improve the local economy? Then there's a short list of things that you can do, events, work to drive footfall, marketing initiatives, better communication. Yeah, definitely. So where we started. And then you're going, well, okay, what else can we do? And we started exploring other solutions because there wasn't that many tools on the market for place managers that delivered measurable success for their business communities. So we're looking at Brixton Pound, Bristol Pound, things that have been done before. Why did they work? And why didn't they work? And why are they not here anymore? And then we started, looking at gift vouchers and gift cards for shopping malls, and how could that similar approach could be applied to a wider geography. So you're kind of creating a gift card for a city that joins together the best that the city can offer. So food and drink, retail, entertainment, all behind one great product. Now that product has mass appeal to consumers that live all over the world that have friends and family that still live in the city. So you can bring money in to the city in that way. Also appeals to employers in the area that want to be a bit more purposeful with their rewards and incentives that they give to their staff. And every time a resident then receives that gift card to spend, it gets them out of their house. It gets them looking to see what's available locally because they need to spend it. They've got money to spend. So they're engaged. At this point, they're totally engaged and they're looking to see where they can spend it. And because it's someone else's money, they're more likely to try something that they've not done before because it de-risks that first-time experience. And on average, they'll spend about 65% more than the value they've been given. So this is a new tool that place managers now can have at their disposal that evidentially benefits the business community and stimulates additional activity, gets people exploring and getting them to spend more of their own money on top of the money that they've received. So yeah, once we started to understand that, and then we started to work out how do we build a business that enables cities to launch and operate successful gift card programs.
Yeah, so you've sort of gone from seeing the need as a small business owner to understanding what drives the behavior of people in the area to then creating a product that joins the two together.
Yeah, I think the important part that you learn both from being a small business owner and from trying to work across cities is that whatever you deliver needs to be really easy for the 200 different businesses that operate within that location to participate and benefit from. And that's really difficult, so you got 200 different business owners types, you got retailers, you got restaurants, you got, cafes, and you've got cinemas, you got different till systems, you got lots of, hundreds, thousands of members of staff that all need to be able to operate for one single program. And I guess that, when I reference Visa stroke MasterCard, that's where they come in because we can use an existing infrastructure that people are used to instead of trying to create something and get, all of these people to learn it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got the scheme up and running in Perth.
Yeah.
It's a lot bigger than Perth now.
Yeah.
So how did you then scale that?
Yeah. So there's 180 live cities now in the UK, Ireland, and in North America across the States and Canada. So yeah. So how did we get from one? Well, one to many, I think, is the first step, right? It's like you can win at home. Can you win away from home? Can you help another city be successful and deliver, success using this program? Once you've done that, can you do that times 10? I think, and then there's kind of a step change nearly from 10 to many. that I think is true within one territory. And then nearly, if you've done that, then how could you replicate that success in other markets?
Yeah.
That was probably fast tracked for us because of COVID, and this video conferencing. That's a huge, but prior to the COVID, when I wanted to explain the benefits of an Exeter gift card I would have to go to Exeter, right? I would have to jump in a plane to Bristol and get a car and drive to Exeter for a 1 hour meeting and then come all the way back again. And so that really slows down your expansion opportunities at that point in time. And then COVID hits, and all of a sudden people discover that they can have that same conversation pretty much in the same hour without anyone doing any traveling. So it allows us to then have this conversation worldwide from our base in Scotland to start off with, as we build a client base in different territories, and then we can invest in an in-country resource to help support these clients, and then expand the number of clients based on people wanting to emulate the success of the programs that we have in those countries. So that's kind of roughly how we went about doing it. A lot of that was also, we had partnered with a payments partner that had the licenses in place to operate in the different countries where we want to operate. So there's a kind of technical legislation part that opened doors to us to these markets. And then there was the opportunity to accelerate growth with the video conferencing, and also, having said, we set up these subsidiary companies that allow us to operate pretty much from home during COVID times. So there was an opportunity that nearly when we couldn't do a lot of other things, but what we could do was learn how to operate in different markets, so that, and then quickly accelerate growth. So COVID for us, although it had a lot of downsides for us, and obviously it's a disaster internationally, it did provide some opportunities for rapid expansion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's we wouldn't wish it again, but like any of the big crises that hit the human race, it tends to accelerate a lot of learning and innovation.
Yeah, exactly. For some businesses, devastating. We were very fortunate that it presented some opportunities for us, and we had some good partners in place that enabled us to try and take advantage of those opportunities. It was a really intense period for our small team trying to do that at that time, but the benefits have been that we've now been able to expand into larger markets for our products and services.
Yeah. So you're 180 locations now. What's next?
I think for us, all of the 180 locations are only scratching the surface of what they can achieve using the program. So I think if you looked across the 180 programs and looked at the level of sales and local spend they're delivering using essentially the same program, they're all very different, right? So some are very successful, some are not very successful, some are growing quickly, some are stagnant. So the puzzle for the business is, how do we help all of the cities to accelerate faster in terms of the value they're delivering for their business communities? And that's fascinating. So you're back to, it sounds simple, but actually it's quite complex as usual. So, what works over here, can that work over there? No, sometimes the answer to that is no, right? So you learn and you go, well, but this does work over there. So there's different profiles of places and cities, and there's different, types of clients that do different initiatives that work. So there's an awful lot of learning. And the good thing is that we've got a great team in place now, so we've got a lot of great clients, so we can learn. I think we're learning faster. We're getting more data, and we're creating communities of like-minded cities and people that can learn from each other. And a lot of what we need to do is, two things: facilitate those conversations, and then develop technology that can be exploited by the overall community of program managers. So yeah, we brought in a client success director that had a lot of experience that I'd worked with before, to help create a client success function to help facilitate that acceleration in terms of growth per client. So I think growth per client, hopefully generates success. Other cities want to emulate success. That's fundamentally our strategy.
Yeah. And what would you say, if there was one piece of advice you could give to someone who was establishing a new project or initiative in an area, what would that be?
Yeah, that's really interesting, because over those 12 years, you do see, we're not just seeing what we do, we're also like witnessing other ideas and concepts that are well thought out, well funded, lots of energy involved, and they fail, right? So you're learning, well, why is that? I'm really interested in, learning from the reasons why other things have failed. So 100%, that would be my advice, is like, look around, and you can nearly guarantee that you won't be the first person that's tried this high level concept. So, try and find out who else has tried it and why it didn't work, and take that really, really seriously. And I think that we learned that lesson, the hard way, which tends to be my way of learning things, unfortunately. And take that really seriously, and make sure you really understand it, and make sure you're convinced that you've got a way to overcome that barrier to success. Because if you don't, the same will happen again. You'll fail. And I see that, unfortunately, I see that happen in lots of different cities and lots of different projects that are really well, as I say, they're really well thought. They should work, but they don't work. And they don't work for the same reasons they didn't work somewhere else.
Yes.
And you're like, please stop investing all that time and money in cities on projects that are destined to fail. So that would be my my biggest piece of advice. And I often, try to give that advice when I'm for other businesses that are starting in the sector, and to avoid, making some mistakes I've gone before. That doesn't mean that they're not going to do it better. They're not going to solve it. I 100% encourage people to get involved in the sector, because place management and working with business communities, it's a fascinating place to be. It's really purposeful, it's really rewarding. The people that work in our sector really care about the success of the places they're trying to help. And any business that comes into that with a great idea, that then is willing to work hard and make that work, will be embraced,
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. So all about understanding the things that sit behind the process you're trying to create, and watch other people's failures, and indeed your own, I guess, and learn from them. They're great learning opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. In our world, all of the cities, even if you took the 180 cities that we operate with, can you imagine the number of initiatives that have been tried over the last 20 years in those cities? Which ones are still there? Not many, right? So, that means that 99% of what has gone before has not persisted. So, why is that? That's fascinating. And again, I'd reiterate, it's not the lack of intelligence, effort, money that's been spent. It's because there's fundamental barriers to success that have not been overcome. Once you understand those, you can really try and work out how you do it. Then that's worth doing. That's definitely worth doing. And we also, as well as doing the gift card program, we're developing a loyalty platform for cities. And there's some fundamental barriers there that we're just about overcome, but we've not really worked out fully how to then deliver, huge value via the platform. So, and we've been working on that problem probably longer than the gift card program. So it's not easy, to come up with, programs that deliver value for business communities.
Yeah. Well, you're certainly supporting a good and growing number of communities around the globe. So thank you very much for all your hard work in this area, and for supporting so many small businesses indirectly through doing that. Colin, thank you very much. That's been superb.
Not at all. Thank you very much for